Multiple claps. Okay. Welcome everyone to the December edition of Body Process Call. Today we're talking about the process that you guys had to run, hopefully that you didn't run probably, is the activation and actualization of the immunity to aging of bodies. And it's run on the crown and heart. And you asked for the pineal and the pituitary to turn on when running it. And Tanya just posted it in the chat. There we go. So, obviously, we're talking about aging. So, everything you're unwilling to be, know, perceive, and receive about the activation and actualization of immunity to aging of bodies. Will you revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. So everything you're unwilling to be, know, perceive, and receive about the activation and actualization of the immunity to the aging of bodies, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. So what is it you're avoiding with aging? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what is it you're defending with? Defending with aging. Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Okay, questions, concerns, complaints, Christmas wishes. Oh. Nothing. Everyone's just as sleepy I am on this.
I'll have $1 million. I'll have $1 million for Christmas wishes.
$1 million. That's all you want for Christmas?
Times a million.
Christmas is $1 million. I feel like that could be a mashup of that Bare Naked Lady song that was "If I Had $1 Million and All I Want for Christmas." I don't know how you would do it, but I think it'd be funny. Okay.
I'll write that. I'll write that one up for you.
Thank you. Because my talents lie very far away from anything musically inclined. So, as you can tell by my amazing singing,
I could use some of your jokes. You give me some of your jokes to put it in it, then then it'll be a co-written thing. And back to activation.
Got it. Perfect. The jokes are easy. We can do that.
Cool.
So what are you unwilling to be, know, perceive, and receive about the activation and actualization of the immunity to aging of bodies? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Oh, I know what we can do. So what does aging mean to you? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Oh, dear God. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what do you mean to aging? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what does sex with aging mean to you? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what does sex with you mean to aging? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Oh, dear God. For those of you who don't know, those 4 series of questions is called the meaning process. Yes. And let's do it the other way now. So what does immunity to aging mean to you? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. What do you mean to immunity to aging? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. You mean disease, that's funny. Everything that is right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. What does sex with immunity to aging mean to you? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what does sex with you mean to immunity to aging? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Can you say more about immunity to aging? For me, it comes up that is you need a bucket for these clearings. Yes, awesome. Can you say more about immunity to aging? For me, it comes up, what comes up is that aging is a disease. A disease. Ah, okay. The disease wasn't an answer to my question. It was a correction of your spelling. Ah, although appropriate. Yeah, so the whole idea of anything when deceased, yes. That's what happens with aging. You know, after you age, you decease. So first of all, with the meaning process, if you guys haven't heard that before or heard it talked about, when we talk about what does sex with whatever mean to you and what does sex with you mean to whatever, we're not talking about copulation, we're talking about receiving. So what does that mean? Well, if you were receiving aging, what would that mean to you? And if you were received by aging, what would that mean to you? Or if you were received immunity to aging, what would that mean? But we just say sex because it's more charged. I don't know, and because Gary says it that way. Anyway, so everything that brought up or let down, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And immunity would basically mean that you aren't the effect of it. You know, like with all things, what Gary, a lot of times what we talk about with aging is also the idea of indefinite living. You know, there's quite a few processes that are, you'll see indefinite living, verbal processes about indefinite living, or body processes talking about indefinite living. Well, with indefinite living, it doesn't mean that there's an age. It just means you determine the length. Your choice is what creates your living. And it's indefinite. You can choose to end it. You can choose to continue on. It doesn't have a defined reality to it. So speaking of defined reality, how many definitions are you using to create the aging you are choosing? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And how many definitions are you using to avoid the aging you said you should not be choosing that you are choosing because you're refusing? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Ooh, right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Any questions?
Hello, Andrew. There's a question
Hello.
here. Hi,
Yes.
how are you? Okay, so I think it's Halina. She is asking if you can say more about immunity for aging, because for me, it comes up, for me, aging is very uncomfortable. It's like a sickness.
Yeah. But that's, that is, again, but that's also where, this meaning process comes up, where it's like, okay, so what does aging mean to you? If it's, it means it's uncomfortable and a slowly uncomfortable fall down the hill until I die. Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what do you mean to aging? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what does sex with you mean to aging? Everything that is, time is a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what does sex with aging mean to you? Everything that is, time is a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. I'm also getting that people have been using aging a way of saging you by giving you unsolicited wisdom and advice. I like it, because obviously they've lived longer than you, so they know more than you. This reality is so based on aging, meaning the road to decrepitude. True. But yes, obviously, how many of you have misidentified and misapplied aging with knowing? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Oh God, that's so heavy. I didn't expect that. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Yowzers. So how many of you have misidentified and misapplied aging as knowing? So you try and age yourself more so you can know more. Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Wow, I am very surprised about the amount of charge on that. You've been saged many times. I like this term that you created with the saging too, because I just think of the metaphysical people saging you, which is also super annoying. But when people older than me try and give me their, their wisdom, aka their conclusions, it's like you're being saged because you just walk away like smoky and smelly. So how many of you have misidentified and misapplied aging with knowing? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. So what have you misidentified and misapplied aging as that it isn't? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. But this is also where it's like, I think this clearing for, when you're doing classes, like it's one of my favorite clearings for when I do intro nights or really basic, like beginner things. Because, we all have these things that we misidentified and misapplied as something. And whenever you misidentify or misapply something, remember your point of view creates your reality. So if you have the point of view that, aging, knowing is aging. So the only way you can know is if you age, then what do you have to do to know? You have to create aging. So everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And all the aging that you've locked into your body to prove that you can know what you know, because you can't know it without being of a certain age. Will you now revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all of that and allow it to dissipate and release from your body? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. That is very strange. So, but anyways, what I was talking about is I think it's, for you guys that are like, whenever you don't know, when people ask you questions in the classes and you're like, oh, I don't know how to answer them. One of the things I always like is I just, if they're like, oh, well, can you talk more about aging, Andrew? And I'll be like, sure. So what have you misidentified and misapplied aging as that it isn't? And then, and hopefully someone will respond to you. If not, it still brings up an energy, obviously apparent with all of you. And so everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Weird. Often when I have huge leaps in awareness, it is followed by me being very sick. The clearings now make so much more sense. Yes, I understand. There's lots of people that do that though, so you're not alone. But again, one of the things I learned really early on is whenever I started quote unquote feeling sick, I would start running. What am I sick of? Because remember, point of view creates your reality. But the other thing is, what have you misidentified and misapplied sickness as that it isn't? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And especially with the holidays coming up, what are you sick of is really good clearing. Why? Because you get to spend it around all the people that make you sick. Or around other people who are sick of being around people. Did I miss? I think that's all of them. Other questions? Complaints? Problems? Or who are sick of being around, period. Yep, that too, another reminder of a holiday, of how you missed the yesteryear of holiday past, when you were fit and in shape and weren't aged and decrepit, and how, the best years of your life are far, far away. And now that you just can't seem to leave your body anyways. Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. So what have you misidentified and misapplied as aging that isn't? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what have you misidentified and misapplied as not aging that is aging? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. I know. Well, aging is always, a very big topic for people because lots of people have points of views around it, and very charged. And everyone wants to avoid it or change it or appear younger or older or whatever. Oh, and everything you did to misidentify and misapplied knowing as aging, so that you would have to age yourself to the appropriate level of to the appropriate age, so you could know what you know. Will you now revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. I am still so surprised by the amount of charge on that and how funny it is. I'm like, because that's like, obviously, if you're starting to get gray hair, it's wisdom from all those years of having lived, and now you know things because you've lived long enough to know things. Because you as an infinite being, aren't infinite until you're past the age of, 50. Everything that is times a godzillion will you revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Gary tells me not to tell people my age because they will not listen to me unless I am under 40. Not me. I'm under 40. It's a comment from the thing. But yeah, it's very funny. But I remember when I first started facilitating and I was, 20, 25, 26. And, no one, like, people didn't want to listen to me because I was young. I must not know things. So, other questions, concerns, complaints, problems? I like it. You guys are all done in like 20 minutes.
I know you're going to listen to me. I'm already qualifying it. You're going to say, ask your body, This is a process that Gary says has to be run a few times. What do you perceive as the average amount of times to run this one? And I know, ask your body.
Yeah.
And what else?
I would ask your body, and I would my suggestion would be I would commit to getting it run 10 times and then see where you're at from there and kind of what response you're having it with that. But it's also, on the larger topics, I wouldn't be surprised, like what Gary was saying with BMM was it was like 200 to 300 times for a lot of people. And so, with aging too, it's something that, is everywhere you look, and it's something that's, entrained to, and you're like projected and expected at, and it's everywhere you look. So I would suggest running it lots, because you probably, not that you need it, but it might create some changes.
It came up for me twice at the 3-day advance, which was interesting. So evidently I have no points of view about it whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh, I like this. Anna saying every gray hair I have came last year, came the year I became a CF. Too freaking funny. See, I know, it's like, you gotta show that wisdom, show how smart you are now that you know things, because you have gray hair and that lets you know things. So everything you've done to age your body appropriately to prove, to validate your ability to know things, will you now revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate everything you aligned and agreed with or resisted or reacted to buy that crap in the first place? Everything that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all 9 shirts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Too funny. Yeah. I mean, you guys might just have to listen to this a little bit more than normal, because apparently, aging's a very big, yes, you can loop it. But there's lots of, and a lot of the processes, with Gary and everything that occurred with his body from the shingles on for the past 3 or 4 years now, is like, there's so many body processes now that are looking at, with the aging. See, there's my alarm for the call that's already been on for a half hour. More comments. A heart surgeon of mine looked so young that people were afraid to let him operate. Exactly. They're like, obviously, if you look young, then you must not know what you're doing. I mean, the fact that they give you a license doesn't mean you had to pass any stringent tests or anything. Every pound you gain came after being a CF. Well, obviously, you have to, show how substantial you are now that you're a certified facilitator. Really throw your weight around, everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all 9 shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Okay, what else would you like to know? What else would you like to change?
Andrew, could you do the knowing one a few more times, please? I keep trying to write it down, but you keep frying my brain to do it.
I'm
Doesn't-
flying my brain too. The misidentified and misapplied one, is that the one you're talking about?
I think so. I can't really hear it very well. So.
Okay, so how many of you have misidentified and misapplied knowing as aging, or aging as knowing? So the more you age, the more you know. Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all 9 shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And the nice thing is, at one, you never get to age/know enough that you could know enough to not have to deal with aging. Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what does your body know about aging that you're refusing to know? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And what does your body know about the immunity to aging that you're refusing to know? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Were those good, Cass? Did you be
Those were brilliant. Thank you.
okay?
I realize I've been working with an 89-year-old man who has dementia.
Mhm.
And just where that's really, who doesn't really want to be here anymore. So just realizing even more how incredibly aware we all are of everybody else's points of view of aging. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And who does it belong to? 3 days. It's really, especially when you're around people that, what Gary's talked about is people that have dementia have this sense of like they disconnect from this reality and they disconnect from their body in a way.
Yeah.
And so being around that, do you sense that sense of disconnection?
well, totally. And I'm never quite sure what being I'm actually going to be dealing with because it's kind of like a revolving door. So,
Yep.
yeah. Thank you. Beautiful timing for this one. Thank you.
I know it's very odd that these calls always, you ask which process to get, and it's always fascinating which processes come up. And I never know. I just tell I pick the processes by telling Tanya right column or left column, and then a number that's down. I'm like, left column, second column, third one down. And then we just do the one that's available. I'm still confused about immunity to aging, but it might be late. Oh, but you were a bit late. So bad. What is it that you are? Please realize anytime you're confused about anything, it's because you're not willing to be it and receive it. So it's like, oh, this doesn't make sense to me. Well, everything you're unwilling to be, know, perceive, and receive about that will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Or you could run the what energy, space, consciousness, choice can me and my body be to have total clarity and ease with the immunity to aging for all eternity. Everything that doesn't allow that times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Do you have a good process and verbal process for wrinkle and neck? What about the neck that wrinkles more than the rest of the body? I don't, maybe your neck wrinkles more than the rest of the body. I don't think everyone's body does that. Everyone creates it more based on their points of views, So, wrinkle, I'm trying to think of, well, what's your point of view, like about your life and your neck? Like, are you always sticking your neck out for other people? Are you, like, it's not always the wrinkle, wrinkle, little star. Oh, I like that one. That's great, Katusha. For a good like body process wise, I would just ask your body, okay, I have body, what can we do what process can we run that will change the wrinkles on our neck? I mean, obviously facelift is probably really good, but it might be a different process too. You can just ask the body, run it. And do you want to ask, okay, body, how many times do we need this process to change this? And it could be not one process, but multiple processes. You could maybe you've misidentified and misapplied yourself as a turkey, and that's why you have everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds. Other holiday season process. Yes, exactly. Sometimes after running the process, the number of times lessens. Yeah, it does. I mean, I've had people that say they get 200 times and then they start running it and then they ask their body again and it changes to 100 times. Why? Well, because your body isn't going in a linear way. It doesn't, it's just telling you based on an energy, and that energy goes to like 200 times. Okay, well then you run it and something changes, or you let go of points of views and you receive more, and all of a sudden now it's down to 100. And I'm very grateful you enjoy these calls. You're very welcome. Cool. Other questions? Anything else you'd like to know before we wrap up the call? No. Okay. Everyone's now aged appropriately, and it's time for you all to take a nap. I understand. Okay, then announcements wise, if you guys, there's a why, we added a question handout that got put in the body process class manuals, and it's in the body process manual folder and the body process one sheets, but it's just a page long of Gary talking about why we ask a question, and has a verbal clearing with it too. But it got put in pretty much all the access manuals. So you can check that out if you so desire. I was bad, and me and Tanya did not talk about what process we're doing next month. So we don't actually do first column, fifth one down, Tanya. And then we'll get the process, and we don't have a date yet because again, I was bad and it's lazy. Yes, Rujani saying that came from the COP class. Yep, that's where people thought asking a question was a bad thing. Nope, asking questions is never a bad thing. No such thing as stupid questions, only stupid people who won't ask questions. What else is there? I think that's all my announcements. Do 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 do. Did we get it? I put Tanya on the spot now. She's like scrambling through folders and windows and things to find.
Oh, would you like me to announce which process it was?
Sure.
So you said first column, fifth down.
Yes.
So there's only two in the first column.
Then it's the second one.
Amalgamation of eternal and infinite power and potency embodied as humanoid for all futurity.
Oh, nice. Starting the new year off good. Okay. So could you post that in
I'll
the chat
post
again
that.
for people?
Yeah.
So there it is posted. Please again, run it. We'll do it sometime next month, and we'll start the new year off with some infinite power and potency. And thank you everyone for coming on. Enjoy your holidays, or don't enjoy your holidays, whatever makes you happy, and see you all next month.
Thank you, Andrew.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you, translators.
Thank you.
Thank you,
See you.
everyone.
Bye.